we start to see this transition area where we could see some of that freezing precip really early in the morning tomorrow, but it's going to depend on the timing of this Arctic front, who sees what. And this is important because we could see some impacts to the roadways if we do have some of that light icing. Now, Bruce showed you this model. It looks like most of the icing from what our forecast graphics are showing is going to be in those far northern areas. And that makes sense because we've been talking about it needs to be cold for a period of time for the ice to actually freeze on the roadways and on the ground. So those areas that are colder for longer are going to see the most widespread impacts. And it does look like that will mainly be the North Shore. But we do have some winter weather tips for you because obviously this is an infrequent occurrence here. We typically don't see this during the winter time, but we could see this now. Now, freezing rain is a very thin layer of cold air near the surface. The sleet is a thicker area of cold air, but we still have a little bit of warm air up there in the higher levels of the atmosphere. Snow below freezing all the way across the entire temperature profile. Now, once you start to see that freezing rain and sleet, that's when you can see black ice. That's when you have very thin layers of ice on the roadways that can be very slippery to drive in. So if you have to drive, which we do not encourage if you're in those far northern areas where we might see some of this icing, we do not want you on the roadways, but if you have to, if you're one of those important personnel somewhere, here's some tips. Keep the steering wheel straight. Do not brake on that ice. It's going to send you into a tailspin, and take your foot off of the accelerator to slow down. Now, the reason that we're mainly concerned about bridges, and we've talked about bridges and overpasses and elevated roadways, is because they tend to freeze first. That's because normal roads lose heat evenly, but when you have the cold air going underneath the bridge, that's going to cool it off faster than the typical roadways. So we'll be watching especially for the bridges and overpasses tomorrow. Back to you.